right, good morning, everyone.
It's all good.
Yeah. Good morning. I would like to call to order the meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Today is February 20th, 2024, and the time is 9:30 a.m. I would like to call up Pastor Dave Yanatone from First Assembly of God Church for the invocation. Welcome, sir.
Good morning. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for life. The author of all of it, Lord, belongs to you. We're grateful for the environment in which we live, the great state of Florida and the great Lee County. We pray, Father, that you'll grant those who speak before the commissioners today wisdom and clarity, civility as well. And I pray for the commissioners that you'll grant them wisdom and understanding and a listening ear to continue to lead this county with diligence and forthrightness, we pray, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please stay standing and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you may be seated. Okay, this morning we have several ceremonial presentations this morning. I would like to recognize Commissioner Pendergrass for the first presentation.
Great. Thank you, Chairman. If I could have Sheriff Carmine Marcino and his team come forward to the podium here. I believe we have a lot of the LCSO finest. Chris and the team come down here with the sheriff. You got a great family there, Sheriff. So just go ahead and go to the podium there. I'd like to make a few words. I'm going to ask my colleagues to jump into in a minute after we have you speak, Sheriff. You know, today is an opportunity, I think, for all of us as a community to recognize it's unfortunate people make bad choices in life. Back in February 6th of this year, 11 o'clock a.m., a gentleman decided to go on Bank of America here in Lee County and decided to hold our residents of Lee County hostage. And I'd like to commend the sheriff and his team from everything from the first responders, the call takers, everybody who arrived at that scene, the command staff, for what you did that day. You saved many of people's lives that day. You took a person that decided to make a bad choice and put our citizens' life in danger, and you took action swiftly. And I'd like to commend you and your agency. You know, every day we constantly look at budgets and what we do for your agency, and one of the main priorities of my life, and I think the board's life is this right now, is making public safety a number one priority. And you know what? You get what you pay for. And every year when that budget comes up, we are committed to making sure public safety is priority here in Lee County. And you showed us it works. With the tools you use, the training, and the expertise, you took this opportunity to make sure you preserve life. You took a dangerous situation, and you took care of it. So again, thank you, Sheriff, to you and your team for that. Sheriff, I'm going to ask you to say a few words. I'm going to ask my colleagues then, because I know we are really, really happy to have you here, happy to have your agency and working for Lee County. You make us all look good, and your team makes us all look good, because the citizens deserve public safety, and you are definitely providing that for Lee County.
Well, thank you. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Commissioners, thank you. Our county manager. I say thank you to everybody, because you use the word team. There is no I in team. And I know sometimes you guys are tasked, like we all are, with making very, very difficult decisions. But you all don't just talk. You take action. And your action saves lives. You have made the citizens of this county absolutely safer with funding us with the tools to do our job, even when certain news stations want to hit you and they want to criticize you. You guys make those decisions and you do what's right. I'll use the example, Robbie the robo-dog, where people might ask why we need it. In this hostage situation, that robo-dog was able to go right next to the suspect and give us the visual, complete video of what he was doing step by step every second of the way. And without that, we wouldn't know what's happening. So this really, the recognition is from my team members. While I'm the sheriff, my family members at LCSO are amazing. They're dedicated professionals, and we love serving the great residents of this county. We have law and order, and we're going to make certain that people are safe and secure with their families, but we couldn't do it without you. Making those tough decisions makes us do our job, helps us do our job, and we can't say thank you enough. It was a very difficult day. It was extreme circumstances, and our sniper is an absolute hero. They train constantly, but to take one single shot when the suspect and the victim's head are right next to each other, that's a serious shot, and we saved lives. And there was no doubt in my mind that when he presented deadly force, we took swift action and we saved lives. So thank you all for supporting us, and I appreciate it. Commission, again, I say it time and time again, we're able to do our job because of you supporting us and helping us, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Chairman, if you'd like to.
I would. Obviously, so many people move here to Lee County, and I've talked to many of the newcomers, and they all talk about what a great job our law enforcement does. And it's not, so you're not just recognized locally, you're recognized throughout the whole United States of what a great job that you guys do. And we can't thank you enough. I mean, it's a tough job. Sometimes it's a thankless job, unfortunately. But we're very proud of y'all, and I know I'm very proud of you, along with, I'm sure, many, many of our citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you.
Sir.
First of all, again, we make a lot of investments in a lot of different things in the county. You know, the investments are right when you see the results, and we see the results with your team. The two things that I'm impressed with, you've created a culture, you know, with our police department. I don't know how many times on TV, you know, you can see other cities where people want to take pictures with our team. You know, that's the result of the efforts that you make. The second thing is, I look to the future, and I see the young people that want to take a picture with the equipment, with your team and stuff like that. That's the inspiration that will lead the next generation, and for that we should all be thankful for.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Rain.
Sure, Sheriff, you and I go back a long ways. Today's my 17th year, actually, that I was appointed to Sanibel City Council. So you and I go back an awful long period of time. I've watched your progression. I've watched your decisions. I can't tell you and thank you enough for all you've done for us. But it's been easy as a commissioner to give you the tools necessary to do what you need to do. And thank you for all you do for us.
Commissioner,
On my heart.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and just, you know, Sheriff, I just want to echo what my colleague said. I mean, we want a safe county here in Lee County, and you certainly have gone above and beyond to make sure that we do have one here. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank the tremendous team that you have behind you, and the folks who put on the badge and the belt every single day and go out to work. We're just so grateful. On behalf of a grateful county, we are very grateful for what y'all do.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's one team, one family, and we appreciate all of you, so thank you.
There's someone in the audience say, Reverend Suarez, are you still here? I would like to have Reverend.
Sir, he's right here.
Reverend Suarez has been around here for over 40 years. I first met him when I started my law enforcement career in 1983 at Palm Beach and Palmetto, and he's seen the change over the last 40 years, how agencies evolved and everything, and he probably remembers the days where we didn't have bullets at the time. We had to buy our own bullets at the gun shops to go to work. But Reverend Suarez, you would like to recognize the sheriff?
To each one of you that oversee the government of this wonderful county. Today is a victory day. Why? Because we have a person that really cares for the fellow man. What happened days ago, there was a blessing and carry knowledge and respect. And I said, thank you for you that took time to recognize this man, that he been brave in what he do. And he carry respect and dignity, and he put our county in the high position. Sheriff, thank you for being so good in what you do. And God bless you. And I pray for you every time that God protect you from evil and for those people that are there to do better to our county and our city. County Commissioner, my respect to each one of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you.
Again, Sheriff, thank you for everything you do, and hopefully we'll never have to do this again, but we know that you're like our best insurance policy in Lee County here to provide safety. If there is an opportunity in the future, you will, and your agency, your team will be there to protect our citizens of Lee County. So again, thank you for everything you guys do.
Thank you for making safety of our citizens number one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Pendergrass, you have a second presentation?
Okay, well, thank you. It's a hard one to follow up there. So thank you again, Sheriff, and your team. If I could have the Florida Engineering Society members come forward. We have some engineers here in the room. Come up here, guys. We have a resolution to recognize Engineers Week this week, and very important job. Without these men and women, we couldn't get our bridges and roads built and our buildings built to be safe. So I'd like to read this resolution to the record. The Board of County Commissioners resolution, whereas engineers help to design, construct, and maintain the infrastructure and facilities that contribute to the quality of life of all residents of Lee County. And whereas maintaining the quality of life in Lee County during periods of substantial growth and uncertain economic times depends on engineers developing creative, high-quality solutions to technical problems. Whereas engineers, above all else, practice in their profession hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public. And whereas, through their celebration of Engineers Week each week, the Florida Engineers Society and its Booster chapter are dedicated to sustaining and growing the dynamic engineering profession by ensuring a diverse, well-educated future engineering workforce, rising public understanding, appreciation of engineering contributions. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners wishes to recognize and honor those individuals who live, work in Lee County, who participate in professional engineering in an honorable, responsible, ethical, competent manner, and to recognize and honor those students have chosen to educate to follow a career path in the field of engineering. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida does hereby proclaim the week of February 18th through the 24th as designated as Engineers Week. It's duly signed by our chairman, Mike Greenwell. So again, thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
1, 2, 3. One more. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would
Thank
like
you.
to speak for a second? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Ford, and I'm a professional engineer, and I work for Kimley Horn and Associates, a civil engineering firm. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in biological systems engineering from Virginia Tech. Today, I'm here representing the Florida Engineering Society Colusa chapter as the current president. Our chapter includes Collier County and Lee County and 4 other Southwest Florida counties with over 200 members. We host a middle school math competition every year for over 100 students. We send the top teams and performers on to state. We have several teams for Lee County who participate each year. We also provide scholarships each year to high academic achievers looking to pursue a degree in engineering. I would like to thank the board for this proclamation. The stereotypical engineer is quiet and reserved. We are a profession typically taken for granted or referred to when something fails. However, Engineers Week is a time of year to try to raise awareness about our quiet contributions to society. There are several engineering disciplines, including civil, environmental, biomedical, computer, software, industrial, mechanical, geotechnical, nuclear, to name a few. All aspects of our daily lives are impacted by the work of engineers. From the alarm that wakes us up, to the water we drink, to the roads we drive on, to the buildings we work in, and even the seats we sit in. There's one thing all engineers have in common. They use math and science to solve real-world problems. A core value of engineers is that they shall hold paramount the health and safety and welfare to the public. No matter who we are working for, the public is our ultimate client. Thanks again, and we are honored to receive this proclamation.
Great, thank you again.
Congratulations.
Thank you again. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I lost my pen. Okay, I will present the next proclamation for the 2024 spring training season. Would Sean Smith and Dave St. Peter please come to the podium, and anyone else here representing the Red Sox or the Twins, please come up as well.
I've been waiting all year for this.
I've been waiting all year for spring training. Absolutely.
Not the first picture, huh?
Morning, gentlemen and ladies. Okay, the Board of County Commissioners, Lee County welcomes the Minnesota Twins and their fans back for the 34th spring training season in Lee County and newly renamed Lee County Health Sports Complex. Lee County welcomes the Boston Red Sox and their fans back for their 32nd spring training season in Lee County and the 13th at JetBlue Park. And whereas Lee County is incredibly proud of the 3-decade-long partnership with both teams, and with winter raging on in both Minneapolis and Boston, we welcome fans to enjoy America's favorite pastime in the sunshine. And to help our community continue to thrive in our restoration efforts from the impacts of Hurricane Ian in September 2022, and whereas the Red Sox and the Twins are exemplary community partners, aligning themselves with many local nonprofits and youth organizations, as well as showing immense support for hurricane relief efforts, including the use of spring training facilities for various volunteer staging, relief efforts, and fundraising activities. Whereas the 2024 spring training season will mark another step to getting back to normal at Lee County, continuing to recover and rebuild, with Lee County again being a special part of Twins territory and also the second home to the Boston Red Sox fans. Now, therefore, being resolved that the Board of Lee County Commissioners in Lee County, Florida, along with Lee County Parks and Recreation Department, Visitors and Convention Bureau, Sports Development Office and Facilities, Construction and Management Department, do hereby proclaim the full support for both the Boston Red Sox and the Minnesota Twin organizations. We send you our most sincere best wishes for a success and upcoming 2024 season, duly executed this day, 20th day of February 2024, by the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you very much. Someone like to please speak? Thank you. Oh yeah, let's do the picture. I'm sorry. We'll do the picture first. Thank y'all for coming. Oh yeah. Let's hold for the picture. I want to give out the resolutions to both of them. Okay, get a picture with it, okay? Each side, yeah, thank you.
One more.
All right. Love for y'all to say a few words if you would like, please.
Chairman Greenwell, thank you guys very much. It's an honor to be here once again this year. I think the sheriff touched on a great word about us being a family. We're proud to be part of the family in Lee County on behalf of my colleagues Brendan Whitley, Allison Bucci, Pete Nesbitt, and certainly our ownership group, John Henry, his wife Linda, Tom Werner, and our President and CEO, Sam Kennedy. We thank you guys, but most importantly, we thank the members of this community. We thank Mac Young and his team, Josh Brooks and your squad over at JetBlue, do an unbelievable job at taking care of this facility. And it's not our facility, it's your facility, and we're honored to be caretakers of legacy here. So thank you all very much, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Minnesota Twins, this is our 34th year in Lee County, and we were, again, delighted to be here for this many years. But our partnership, not only with the county, the Board of County Commissioners, the county administration staff, does not go unnoticed. You guys are great partners. In addition, we just signed a 10-year agreement with Lee Health, and they are going to put together a proclamation today on a wellness proclamation, and we want to use our facility also to carry that forward over the course of the next 10 years. We can't understand and believe that two great partners like this can be part of the Minnesota Twins. So we thank you, and we look forward to another 10 years and beyond for the Minnesota Twins in Lee County. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so next I would like to call on representatives from Lee Health for the award presentation.
I'd also like to invite Lee County Parks and Rec to join us. Good morning. My name is Molly Grubbs, and I am a Community and Business Relations Representative from Lee Health. Thank you for joining us today for the exciting announcement of Lee County Parks and Recreation becoming a Partner in Wellness recipient. At Lee Health, we recognize that we have great opportunities to put our mission in various ways into motion and improve the health and wellness of our community. A great example of this is our Partners in Wellness program, which recognizes community partners like Lee County Parks and Recreation who commit to promoting health and wellness among Southwest Florida residents. Our robust relationship spans over 25 years, evident in collaborations at the North Fort Myers Recreation Center and formerly Orange Grove Boulevard Senior Center. These locations were pivotal for the Lee Memorial Share Club program, offering health education, screenings, computer classes, social programs, exercise classes, and more. Since 2018, Lee County has hosted 20 or more events at the Estero Park and Recreation Center, featuring classes on fall prevention, balance, nutrition, youth hydration, and understanding health technology. Our partnership extends to an annual large-scale community health fair connecting residents to health resources and wellness organizations, showcasing Estero, Florida as one of the healthiest places to live. And let's not forget Waxahachie and the Lehigh Senior Center. We collaborate with both of those locations to ensure residents have access to valuable resources for their well-being. Together, we strive to keep the community healthy and engaged in initiatives promoting overall wellness. I would be remiss if I did not mention the Minnesota Twins open house, which actually happened yesterday. We had, I would say, 2,000 to 3,000 people attend that health fair. We've been organizing that health fair at Hammond Stadium since 2016. And it's a fantastic partnership, and we're excited for the next 10 years with the Minnesota Twins. The mission of the Parks and Rec is to provide programs and services that add to the quality of life for all Lee County residents and visitors. This designation celebrates our long-standing commitment to fostering a healthy, active, thriving, and engaged community in Lee County together. With that, I would like to go ahead and present Lee County Parks and Recreation leadership, our Partner in Wellness designation. Congratulations. We are excited to continue to partner with you, and it's been a pleasure for the past 20 plus years.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, y'all come on up and take a picture with us. Thank you.
We're going to have to squish in a little, or maybe 2 rows if you could.
I always say pretend like you like each other.
All right. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. One more.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do. All right, Commissioner Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're recognized.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is an exciting time. It's been a great morning so far. So let's finish it off with one last final exciting recognition for the Southwest Florida Ag Expo. Before we jump into the recognition, I would like to invite the public to help us kick off the Southwest Florida Ag Expo during our ribbon cutting ceremony. This is going to take place February 29th at 3:30 p.m. near the Lee Civic Center office. So February 29th. It's a leap year, so we get a February 29th this year. 3:30 p.m. near the Civic Center ticket office. We're going to have a ribbon cutting to kick off the Ag Expo. And at that ceremony, we're going to have some brief comments from all the commissioners. We're going to hear from some of our young people who are working so hard to get their livestock ready and all of their other projects ready to show at this event. So we would really love to see a big crowd come out and help us kick off the Ag Expo. It's going to be what I believe will be the best year yet. And so with that, I'd like to ask everyone, Whitney Taylor and the 4-H kids, and everyone else who's here to help us recognize the Ag Expo to come to the podium. And once you come to the podium, I'll read the resolution into the record, and then we'll have somebody say a few words after we take a picture. This is our wonderful 4-H group. Good morning. All right. I will read the resolution for Ag Expo Days. It reads as follows: whereas fairs are an American tradition that bring together neighbors and strengthen the social fabric of communities. And whereas Lee County has a rich history of excellence in agriculture, education, and industry. And whereas the Southwest Florida Ag Expo showcases this heritage while providing entertainment, education, and competition in a fun, family-friendly setting at the Lee County Civic Center complex. And whereas this year's extravaganza also includes numerous exciting events such as Creative Living's arts and crafts and livestock shows and sales. And whereas the Southwest Florida Ag Expo also features an expanded carnival with spectacular Reithofer shows, midway rides, and kiddie attractions, free concerts, and promotional days for families. And whereas the growth and success of the event, anticipated to draw thousands of people daily, is a testament to the quality of programming and the dedication of the staff, volunteers, community, and the youth participants of 4-H, FFA, and Pee-wees of Southwest Florida. And whereas the 2024 Southwest Florida Ag Expo will be held for 11 consecutive days, and this year's theme, Let the Good Times Roll, celebrates community, youth competition, entertainment, and fun for everyone. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida does hereby declare February 29th through March 10th, 2024 as Ag Expo Days in Lee County. And we urge all residents and visitors to celebrate the county's rich heritage by attending this exciting event and enjoying the rides, food, entertainment, exhibits, and fellowship. It's duly executed this 20th day of February by our Honorable Chairman, Commissioner Mike Greenwell. Congratulations. We're looking forward to Ag Expo Days. Who would like to receive the proclamation? Here you go.
All right. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
All right, and we'll have a spokesperson say a few words.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Whitney Taylor, and this is my 11th year showing. I'm excited for the Southwest Florida Ag Expo and all it has to offer for us youth. For many of us, this is the culmination of all of our animal projects and a way to show the hard work we have put in all year. The life skills we are able to learn from this experience are invaluable, and we thank you for all your support and dedication to this event.
Thank you guys very much.
I would like to also say a few words before you have a seat, if you don't mind. I can't say enough. I can't wait for everyone to get out to see the facility. The job that the county has done in a short period of time to revitalize the Lee County Civic Center is amazing. You drive by now and you can't help but to look at it. They've done such a great job. And these young children deserve that. They deserve to have a facility that is modern, new, kept up, and I'm sure you see the difference this year compared to the years you've been in the past. And we were able to do some wonderful things for y'all by helping you show the animals and not have to pay this year to show your animals. I can't thank this county and this board enough for everything that we did. It was a tough vote and a tough decision to take the Civic Center back over, but there's no question in my mind it was the right decision. And it's been a team effort, and we want y'all to have the best year ever. And we're going to have many, many more years of the 4-H program. So thank y'all, and looking forward to seeing y'all there. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes the presentations for this morning. I will move to the recap. At this time, we will take up the recap. There are no items to defer and no items for revisions. Is that correct? Yep. Okay. All right. I have a card here from Marcia Ellis on the recap.
I think that's going to come at the end from the way that they
Okay, I just seen on recap, okay. So at that point, we'll move on to the consent agenda, okay? Commissioner Pendergrass, do you have any items to pull for discussion?
None.
Commissioner Sandelli?
None.
Commissioner Wayne?
No.
I have none. Commissioner Ham?
I have none.
Okay,
Move the balance items.
Second.
all right. All right, we have a motion to move the item. We have from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Wayne. Do we have any objections? I'm sorry, we have public comment. Marcia Ellis.
Thank you.
There we go. Thank you.
Good morning, Marcia Ellis for the record, and I am pulling for discussion number 12, 17, and 23. Item number 12 is about the second substantive amendment to the CDBG-DR plan regarding the Hertz Arena hardening. First of all, I have reviewed it, though I would like to see a lot more details in terms of the expenditure. I understand there was a $4.5 million hardening, or that's a number that's been tossed around, as well as a previous $3.5 million. Looking at a $767 per space for 5,000, housing 5,000 people in an emergency situation. What I'm concerned about is this trend towards reimbursement, not just with the Hertz Arena, but with the CDBG-DR funds in general, because when we're reimbursing things, I don't think that there is adequate scrutiny of those funds that that is done through reviewing them scrupulously, like really getting in there and looking at how the money is spent, as well as for individuals. Really, people who are looking for reimbursement are the folks who had the money in their pocket to get the repair done to begin with. So that concerns me. Next, I want to talk about the engineering. I'm concerned with conflicts of interest. The way that it's written, the contracts are written, is there's a 10-day review by the county to determine, based on what the engineers submit, whether or not a conflict of interest. I want public oversight so that we can examine those conflicts as well. This comes from conflicts of interest emerging at the airport, as well with some of the firms that are named in these 16 firms here. Next is the water monitoring with the landfill. In reviewing the scope of work, I see that Gulf Coast landfill, I know we have a number of people here who are not named there. There's some confusion about exactly what's proposed there and what has been going. So I want to know that the monitoring for that landfill is taking place. Generally, looking at the scope of work, it appears to be inadequate to me. Also would like to have disclosure of water monitoring that's been done previously so that the public can review that, as well as the testing methodologies that were used in the water monitoring. This has come up in some discussions with experts regarding fly ash in particular, and trying to develop a methodology that is robust and truly protects the public health. Thank you for the opportunity to bring these items forward today in the public interest.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ellis. Do anyone else like to speak on the consent agenda? Okay. Seeing none, I will close public comment. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Wayne. Do I have any objections? I see no objections. Consent agenda moves forward, 5-0. Okay. That concludes the consent agenda, so we'll move on to the administrative agenda. Mr. County Manager, please introduce item number 1 on the administrative agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first item is to consider acquisition of 12 Conservation 2020 nominations recommended by Class Act. I'd like to ask Mr. Clemens to present the item.
Good morning, Commissioners. This item is to request acquisition activities be approved for 12 parcels within Class Act, or within Conservation 2020. 8 of those parcels are in the Crew area. The total there is about 192 acres overall. They range from about 2.5 acres to one of them's 160. The next area is an infill along Burnt Store Road in the Charlotte Harbor Buffer Preserve area, 2 small infill parcels. Next slide, please. The nomination 640 is along the Caloosahatchee River. It's about a 12-acre tract of land. And item number, our nomination 641 is a 40-acre tract in the Bob James Preserve area. All of these parcels were recommended to be forward for acquisition by Class Act as well as staff. Any questions anyone may have?
At this time, Commissioners, do we have any questions for staff?
No. Thank you for the information. Look forward to adding to our parcels we already have reservations. So thank you.
Any other? Okay, at this time, I will take public comment. I do have a card on item 1. Barbara Ware. Good morning.
Commissioners,
Good morning.
I'm Barbara Ware. I have Barbara Ware Realty in Fort Myers, and I've been in Fort Myers for 70 years. First of all, I want to commend y'all on keeping Lee County, and Robert E. Lee in our history. And I know that's off the subject. I came to talk about Waterway Shores. I know they're going in for MSTU, and I agree with a lot of it, but I do feel like it's not fair to the people that do not own property on the water or do not own any of the yacht basin that they have. The individual landowners there, from what I understand, are deeded the yacht, or the...
One second, I apologize for interrupting you. Mr. Chairman, I believe her comments are related to public hearing item number 1.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So we're just a few items away from that. This is administrative item number 1.
Oh, well,
We've
you called
got...
my name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. It's fine. We're about 4 items away from that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
You get double time, Barbara.
Yeah, thank you. I just seen item 1, so,
Yeah.
I missed the public part on there. All right, so does anyone else wish to speak on this item? All right, seeing none, I will close public comment. All right, I have a motion for approval from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Sandelli. Any objections? Seeing none, item 1 is approved, 5-0. Mr. Harner, please introduce item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item is to select the preferred alternative for pedestrian bridge over Cape Coral Parkway. I'd like to ask Mr. Price to present the item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rob Price with DOT. Admin agenda item number 2 is a request to get board concurrence on the placement of the pedestrian overpass bridge over Cape Coral Parkway as a part of the Cape Coral Bridge project. Staff and the consultant have further reviewed the alternatives and discussed the bridge with the Chamber of Commerce, Lamar, and the food truck parks as requested. Based on our revised analysis, staff and the consultant recommend moving forward with alternative number 2, which would place the bridge in the Bernice Braden Park just east of the Chamber of Commerce building. We're here to answer any questions.
Okay. This time, staff, Commissioners, do we have any questions for staff?
Mr. Chairman, may I just...
Commissioner Hammond.
First, Rob, thank you so much for working with all the parties who came and spoke to us about their concerns. I really appreciate that. One concern that was brought to my attention is parking. you talk to me about like, what is the parking plan for this area and this park and everything?
So currently, the city of Cape Coral doesn't have a parking plan, and we don't have anything incorporated as a part of our bridge project. But there are discussions that are happening that would add some parking in the Bernice Braden Park that may have some connections to the west to the food truck park as well.
Okay, all right. But the city and the chamber, they didn't, you were able to, I guess, ameliorate their concerns related to parking then?
Correct.
Okay, thanks very much.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions from staff at this time? All right. I will open up the floor for public comment. Would anyone like to speak on item number 2? Okay. Please state your name and.
Morning, Commissioner, Mr. Chairman. Joe Mazurkowitz, President BGM Consulting here on behalf of Lamar. I just want to confirm that we met with your staff. We have no objections to the location being moved. We feel very confident that we'll be able to work out a mutually beneficial relationship in making sure the signage continues to be available to trips going both directions. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else like to make public comment? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll move approval, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I have approval from Commissioner Hammond. Do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Sandelli. Any objections? Seeing none, 5-0. Mr. Harner, please introduce item number 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is to approve the Florida Department of Transportation funding agreement for Little Pine Island Bridge, and I'd like to ask Mr. Price to present this item.
Morning again, Commissioners. Admin item number 3 would approve a local funding agreement with FDOT in the amount of $2.5 million for the county share to replace the Little Pine Island Bridge. The bridge will be constructed by the design build team performing the repairs to Pine Island Road for FDOT. Construction is expected to begin after season this year and will include a 3 to 4 month reduction of traffic to 1 lane on Pine Island Road with alternating traffic. FDOT's advancing $4.9 million from their 2027 work program to help pay for the bridge replacement. Staff is here for any questions.
Okay. This time, do we have any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, I will open up for any public comment. Anyone wish to make any public comment on item number 3? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move the item.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Rain, a second from Commissioner Hammond. Do we have any objections? Seeing no objections, votes 5-0. Mr. Harner, please introduce item number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is to approve utility relocation agreements with the Florida Department of Transportation. I'd like to ask Mr. Flores to present the item.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. For the record, Paul Flores, Utilities. Administrative item number 4 approves the utility relocation agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation. This is a companion item to the item was previously presented by LCDOT. Utilities is requesting approval of the utility work by highway contractor agreement for the sewer force main relocation as part of the Little Pine Island Bridge project in the amount of $1,115,753. As part of the agreement, Utilities is requesting FDOT's designer and contractor to perform the work on behalf of Utilities to allow the timely completion of the bridge project. Work is to include design, permitting, CEI, and construction. Construction is scheduled to begin in April. Chairman, I'm available to answer any questions the board may have. Thank you.
This time, does the board have any questions for staff? No. Seeing none, I will open up for public comment. Would anyone like to speak on item number 4? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. Would someone like to make a motion?
I move the item.
Second it.
Mr. Pendergrass, motion to move the item. A second from Commissioner Hammond. Any objections? No objections. Votes 5-0. That, I believe, concludes the administrative agenda. Okay. At this time, we'll go to public hearing agenda. Mr. County Attorney, please introduce public hearing item number 1.
Good morning, Commissioners. Robert Holborn on behalf of the County Attorney's Office. Item 1 has been duly advertised, and I provided a copy to the clerk. This hearing is to amend Ordinance 92-15, Waterway Shores MSTU, to add common area services as requested by the property owners and supported by 50% plus one of the affected owners. If you have any questions, staff is available.
Okay. At this time, does Commissioner have any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, we'll open up for public comment. Would anyone like to make public comment on item number 1? I do have a card, Barbara. I apologize for earlier. You get to do it again. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm back. Barbara Ware with Barbara Ware Realty. Again, I would like to say thank you, County Commissioners, for hearing us. The main thing that I'm concerned with, I do like the street lights and the fact that there's going to be a beautification project, but I do feel like that the property owners that do not have any land on the canal or do not own any of the boat slips because they are deeded to each of the property owners that had bought them, I don't feel like it's fair to the ones that don't own anything for us to have to pay for the seawall in that area, which is going to raise everybody's taxes. No one has told us how much any of this is going to be, and I just feel like, you know, it should be who owns that property is responsible for the seawall. I agree the boat ramp is nice. It has a chain across it. The rest of us can't use it. I mean, I would like to be able to. We bought the property for my granddaughter, and I'm sure they would like to use it at some time. Again, I just want to know about how much it would cost, and, you know, why is everybody having to pay for the seawall repairs instead of just the ones that own it? Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, does anyone else like to speak on item number 1? Please come on up, state your name, sir, for the record.
Good morning. My name is Jim Schutzel, and I am a property owner in Waterway Shores. And I just want to clarify that the area of the common seawall belongs to everyone. And as far as boat slips go, the boat slips are not included in the ordinance change that we are making. The docks still belong to the people, but the seawall belongs to the community. And what we're trying to do is have an opportunity to be able to maintain that seawall for everyone in the community. And right now, when we have an issue, several of the people in the area donate, but many of the people in the area do not. And what we're trying to do is just get this to be even so that everyone participates in what belongs to the community. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on this item? Seeing none, I will close public comment. This time, do we have a motion or any further discussion from the board?
I have a question for the
Yes,
county
sir.
attorney. County attorney, we see a lot of these MSTUs, and usually you'd like to see more participation. Obviously, this one passed at 32 to 60. Rob, I don't know if you have the background on this. I know it's obviously a close vote there. I think statutorily, that once the citizens approve this, we pretty much have to do that based upon their vote, correct?
Yes, Mr. County Attorney.
The criteria is one that's set forth by statute and county ordinance. The ultimate decision rests with the Board of County Commissioners as to whether to impose.
Just thank you. And obviously, I know some people don't agree with it, but the good thing about, like you heard the last speaker say, that some people don't want to pay. The good thing, if you live in a HOA, CDD, everybody pays. You're also paying a management company a large fee to do this work. This is not going to cost the homeowners any extra fees other than the maintenance being done for landscaping, seawalls, dredging, boat ramps. So it benefits the whole community. Obviously, it's unfortunate not everybody agrees with it, but majority of the residents, based upon the numbers, supported it.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to ask if somebody could address the question about the access to the boat ramp, if it is a common boat ramp, and if somebody could answer that as well.
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Mallow to come up and respond to that item.
Morning.
Morning, Commissioners. Josh Melo, Lee County MSTBU. The common areas, that boat ramp is a common area, so they do everybody within Waterway Shores has access to that canal system.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question.
Yes, sir.
Josh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammond, you done?
Yep.
The landscaping, this is a common area, the landscaping throughout the community?
Yes, sir. It's actually just primarily that common area that you see that's not shaded in around the canal, and it is for, just primarily maintaining the mowing.
Do we have any cost estimates, what it's going to cost the residents based upon, I know maybe with seawalls, you don't know which one's going to go in and how much the total cost is. Do we have any idea how much is going to be incur, how this is going to impact the residents that's currently living there?
So this is out for several cost estimates now, but we need to get this through so that we can actually start collecting that information using funds through the MSTBU. But no, it's this is primarily just to start building reserves for the walls that are, in current
great. Okay, thank you.
Poor condition. So,
thank you.
Any other questions?
Anyone else have questions or comments on the board? So at this time, would anyone like to make a motion?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'll move approval of the recommended staff recommendation, rather.
Okay, I have approval from Commissioner Hammond. I have a second from Commissioner Sandelli. Any objections? Seeing none, item number 1 is approved 5-0. At this time, County Attorney, please introduce item number 2.
Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Swindle with the County Attorney's Office. I have your second public hearing this morning, and it has been legally advertised. This public hearing is to adopt an ordinance to repeal and replace Lee County Ordinance 0925 related to the acquisition and conveyance of properties under the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. These changes will streamline the process as well as expand that process to include the Community Development Block Grant disaster funding that the county has been allocated. If you have any questions, I believe Glenn Salyer is here to answer those.
This time, anyone have any questions for staff on item number 2? Okay, seeing none, I will open the floor for public comment. Would anyone like to make public comment on item number 2?
Thank you.
Marcellus.
Marcellus for the record. I'm a bit disappointed that I missed this the first time around. I really did not take the time to review it as carefully as I should have, but I have now. And first of all, I would say thank you for providing the strike-throughs, the insertions. Those are helpful in terms of evaluating this ordinance, and it's well appreciated. Secondly, I'm just, format-wise, I'm going to say I'm still expecting a bit more in the analysis, the FAIS. I'm seeing way too many not applicables, and I think we could do a better job in addressing, without bias, implications arising from changing ordinances. What really concerns me in this is the striking of language related to the program being specific to folks who are below that 120% AMI, annual median income, and the 80% annual median income threshold, and opening it up more broadly. So I really feel like that this program, as it stood, was better in terms of making sure that the most vulnerable and those with unmet needs were given some priority, and that I see the current language change as being too vague in terms of now it says the HUD assist is being sold to income eligible home buyers without any kind of direction towards those who are most vulnerable or need it the most. Basically, it's stating that to ensure the property is conveyed for an eligible use to eligible party. Striking language related to human resources in multiple places, and kind of opening up this to other uses. There's been concern, which has been expressed before, in terms of when we acquire properties, that we keep it we make sure that if it's a buyout program, that it's a benefit to the community. And I don't see that this ordinance is helping enforce what is in the public interest. I see it as an erosion of what the neighborhood stabilization program was all about, what the intent of CDBG-GR funds in terms of the phasing and trying to address those who are most vulnerable and have those unmet needs with priority, and casting too broad and general of a net. I'm concerned that the language change has not been fully analyzed in the accompanying documentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis. At this time, would anyone else like to make public comment on item number 2? Okay, seeing none, I'll
move the
come
item.
back to the board.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Pendergrass makes a motion to move the item. I have a second from Commissioner Wayne. Any objections on item number 2? Seeing none, item number 2 passes 5-0. That concludes our public hearings for today. So we will move on to walk-ons and carryovers. Are there any walk-ons or carryovers at this time? Seeing none? Okay. So we'll move on to Commissioner items. Commissioner Hammond, do you have any items?
Mr. Chairman, just one thing I'd like to say thank you to our wonderful team for. Many of you drive through North Fort Myers on US 41, and you've noticed from time to time some of the buildings that have fallen into disrepair and really had a ton of code violations and became really an eyesore and a blight on the community. One of those buildings was called, it was a restaurant. It was like an Irish pub type restaurant that had closed maybe more than a decade ago. Well, our wonderful team working with code enforcement actually had that building demolished this week. And so I just want to applaud the staff for the hard work and the perseverance, and the county attorney's office as well for their hard work and perseverance and seeing that unsafe building be demolished and that blight now removed from the neighborhood. Thank you. North Fort Myers, thanks you, and just really appreciate your efforts.
Thank you, Commissioner Hammond. Okay, at this time, Commissioner Sandelli, do you have any? No. Commissioner Pendergrass.
Yes, I do. So a few weeks ago, we talked about giving funding for the chambers. I'd like to bring everybody up to speed. So yesterday, myself and staff met with the few of the chambers here in Lee County that was obviously devastated by the hurricane, effects of the hurricane. So after yesterday's meeting, there's proposals being made up as we speak today to come back to staff to make sure that everything's statutory in line with what the TDC funds can be used, and as far as they're asked for based upon their budget to keep their doors open, to provide the visitor center to Sanibel and Captiva, which is so instrumental to that area, and to work within the statute and to rebuild long term. And currently, the members of the chambers are really happy with staff and what we've done so far, and we'll be probably bringing it back to you probably 2 to 4 weeks to come back to a board to blue sheet what can be obtained for them under the statutory requirements of the TDC funds and what it can be used for, and hopefully have that back in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So, and they're happy with that. They have some funds still right now to function with, so it's not detrimental to that. So again, thank you to Richard and Dave, staff for working with us yesterday.
Okay, Mr. County Attorney, do we need to have a motion on this item?
No, this is an update, just to update what's going on, and we'll be coming back to the board later for more discussion as far as what funds can be used, or maybe if more funds is needed, and to help make sure it's done within the statutory requirements of the TDC funds.
Commissioner Ruane, did you have a question?
Comment, if I will. Commissioner Pendergrass, thank you for what you're doing and appreciate the conversations. I did listen to the TDC meeting. There was some unknown about Pine Island. David Connor is the executive director there, president. They do need assistance. They were not part of the alliance, so they didn't participate in that vote, but they didn't want to be excluded. They certainly are hurting probably as much as Sanibel as well as Fort Myers Beach, but they've certainly reached out to me. We've had good conversations regarding that. You know, the other thing that I look at is there seems to be a timeline if we can move this along. This has been a discussion that took place a couple weeks ago. I know there's not a TDC meeting in March. I hope we don't have to wait till April, then come back to this board in May. You know, if we're going to flow it through the normal channel. There was a discussion at the TDC, but I don't know exactly the time frame we're working underneath. And I just know that chambers are working with money from SANCAP and some different grants, and they're going to run out of cash. So that's just an overall concern. The other thing that stuck out in that meeting was that about 27% of the people were first-time visitors, and they weren't going to come back for 5 or 6 years. I think it's really essential that you have staff like Sanibel and like Fort Myers Beach and Pine Island that can really help not only promote tourism, but educate the constituents and people that are coming here to understand exactly what they're walking into and maybe guide them and assist them in educating and giving them some alternatives. I think they're probably the best people on the phone, so whatever we can do to get that moving along, I can certainly see how they play an integral role in promoting tourism.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for the update, and that's something we discussed actually yesterday. We have numerous people have reached out to Pine Island, and the message is given them again to contact staff who's preparing this. The proposal is being submitted now by Captiva and Sanibel Visitors and Fort Myers Beach to the staff of what the needs are based upon what's there. I encourage them. We made phone calls, left messages, but we're still waiting for them to contact us as far as staff goes. As far as the timeline, I'm not sure, we were talking 2 to 4 weeks to come back to the board. I'm not sure we'd have to go back to TDC for a vote. I think we'll just come back directly here, correct? Richard, can you chime in on that?
Mr. Chairman.
County Attorney, please.
It's our understanding that the generic matter had been previously considered by the DDC, and as such, it could come back to the Board of County Commissioners for action.
So 2 to 4 weeks, hopefully we can get this proposal back to the chambers, and hopefully within this week. I sent another message last night with Jay Johnson to the Pine Island Chamber to contact me or staff. We can add them to the list, so it'll be great.
If I can just give the information, I'll give it
Great,
to
thank you. Yeah, please.
County Manager Hardner. I actually have a proposal from Pine Island.
Thank you. Yeah.
Any further, Commissioner Sandell?
Just one comment. The chambers, I think we all recognize, are so important to what they do every day, especially during these times. And I want to shout out to them for the work they've done under pretty arduous conditions to keep things moving forward with great attitude, putting programs in as they can, woefully understaffed. And so I agree with the staff here. If we move this along, it's beneficial to everybody.
Thank you. And due to sunshine, we can't talk about this stuff, so thank you, Mr. Ring. I wasn't where you were talking to him, so now we are aware of that. We'll get the information. The staff will have Pine Island included in that.
I can't thank you enough, Commissioner Pendergrass, for bringing this up, and it's really vital we get these areas back and back to where we need to be. So appreciate it very much.
It's one thing we were really adamant about yesterday, talking to the Sanibel Chamber and both chambers, is their communities need to, obviously we're looking at a 1-year plan here, but it's so important that those communities get those hotels back online and rebuild as soon as possible. And they're going to have to adapt to the changes. The changes are coming. They're here. If they want to build back, they're going to build back based upon a new code. So hopefully they get those, so we get the heads and beds, they get that tax revenue coming back into the hotels to pay for, as you saw the Red Sox here earlier and the Twins, to pay for the stadiums. So it's really important we get those heads and beds to pay. So we are not paying for those ballparks. So make those visitors pay for it. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Pendergrass. All right, moving on, Commissioner Rain, do you have any items?
Just a quick item. This Friday will be our last long-term recovery task force meeting. Appreciate the opportunity to help this commission and certainly the public really help and advocate and really participate in the public comment aspect of this recovery. It's been a really great process to go through, and I'm been honored to do so. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
I'd like to say, Commissioner, Rain, I really appreciate all you've done and the time you've taken out of your personal time to help get this county back on its feet after such a tremendous hurricane. So I can't thank you enough, and I'm sure everyone realizes the effort you made, so I really appreciate that. Any other comments? Nope. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right. At this time, I have 2 items. First is a request to sign a letter to support for home-based Florida veteran and family care. The support would be for their continued state funding efforts. This program is used for our human and veteran services, and the board offered support last year. With the board's approval today, I will sign the letter, and it will be sent to Tallahassee. And do I have a motion to be able to sign that?
No, I'll second Commissioner Sandelli's motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Sandelli, a second from Commissioner Hammond. Would we like to have discussion?
No, we, as a veteran, and we're going through the steps of restructuring our advisory committee for the veterans and stuff, and so all of this fits into part of that process. So for all of those and your families who serve, thank you, and we'll be happy to move this along.
All right, so I had a motion from Commissioner Sandelli, a second from Commissioner Hammond. Any objections? No objections? I'll sign the letter and have it sent off to Tallahassee for 5-0. Oh, I need public comment on it. Thank you, Commissioner. At this time, would anyone like to speak on the letter that I'll be signing to send? Anyone like? Okay, I'll do the vote again then. All right, so Commissioner Sandelli moved a motion to move it. Approval, second from Commissioner Hammond. No objections? Seeing none? Sign the letter, send to Tallahassee 5-0. My second item is to discuss a letter from Bonita Springs I received from Mayor Rick Steinmeier. Dave, could you or Glenn or someone come up and please explain the request in the letter, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to ask Mr. Salyer to present the item.
Commissioners, the Bonita Springs City Council have requested that you restructure the Infrastructure and Planning CDBG-DR Evaluation Committee to include either elected representatives and/or city staff members. As it's currently provided for in your adopted resolution, neither of those categories of persons would be eligible for membership on that committee.
Okay. Do we have any discussion from the board on this letter?
Does our staff have a recommendation or response to the letter?
Okay.
Yes, sir. The staff recommendation would be to maintain the status quo. The adopted resolution embodies, well, let me just briefly frame how the committee will work. So applications will be received. They will be evaluated on their technical merits by staff and our contracted vendors who are CDBG-DR experts and have done these projects across the country. Those evaluation packages will go to the evaluation committee. The committee will be a second set of eyes to review the staff work, and ultimately they can make recommendations based on what they see as overall community need. There's a variety of ways they might go through that process. The reason city staff members are precluded, and county staff members for that matter, are precluded from being on the committee is because they will be an integral part of the process. They will be the ones formulating the applications. They will be the ones presenting to the committee. They will be the ones answering the committee's questions. So it's a little bit of an inherent conflict to have them on both sides of that equation.
Is the other 5 cities participating under the current structure?
Commissioner Pendergrass, the only city that has made a request to change the structure thus far is Bonita Springs.
Okay.
There have been some discussions, I know, at council meetings. The county manager and I were present for one at Cape Coral. They resolved to just move forward with the process as it is. I'm not aware of any other.
Clarity of transparency. The person they choose to be involved with this, and there could be, there's a lot of federal funding there. And just for clarity, for transparency, at the end of the day, it still has to go through a process. That one person doesn't, they choose, is not going to change anything for them, correct?
That any individual appointee is one of 11 members.
Right.
Ultimately are only making recommendations to this board. The board is the one that has the final say.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion?
Just a comment, I think any issue that we bring up, you can balance both sides and so on and so forth, and so I respect the input that they had, but I think there are, the way the county set this up, there is multiple process step points in there where they can be reviewed, commented on, and finally get to a final decision. So I would recommend, that we stay with what we're on.
Do we need to give direction for a response to the letter then? Or are you asking for a letter or just?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Yes, Commissioner, we are looking for us to, whether the chair wants to do it or you want us to provide the letter for the chair to provide a response.
So will we have, County Attorney, do we need to have a motion for a reply back to that letter?
Yes, sir. And I would suggest something along the lines of merely codifying the board's discussion that the matter was heard, entertained, and the board decided to take no action on their request.
So we do need to have.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would anyone like to make?
I'll make the motion as Richard just outlined.
Okay. Okay.
I'll second, and I think the letter originally came to you, copying them all this, so the response probably should.
Okay. So I have a motion to respond to the letter from Commissioner Rain, a second from Commissioner Sandelli. Does anyone object? Public comment.
Thank you.
Marcia.
On this one. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Lovely. Can you get the camera up for me, please? Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm just going to wait a second while he pulls up my graphic. Good evening, or I'm sorry, good morning, Ms. Ellis, for the record. And I have got quite a bit to say on this particular issue. I've given extensive comment on the CDBG-DR in good faith. And I think that the public has a really important role to play in for transparency and oversight when it comes to the spending of these funds, with a special interest in the infrastructure. Because we know that sometimes the impacts of infrastructure that aren't always desired in communities are specific to neighborhoods. And so I am very much in support of Mayor Rick Steinmeier's letter, because I believe that the municipalities have an important role to play because they are the conduit that speaks more directly for the people. What I have, the graphic I pulled, is from the EPA Environmental Justice Screener, and we have the wastewater discharge map up here. Unfortunately, I apologize, I didn't print it out in color, but we have some areas of Lee County where we are in the national average in excess of 95 to 100%. So we are at high risk for wastewater discharge. And that makes sense given the kinds of impacts that we've had from storms. And so the public needs to have a voice in how these infrastructure is being built to make sure that they're being built to standards that are protective.
Excuse me, point of order. Chairman, the motion was to send a letter based upon our current standards. It's not about wastewater or the procurement process. So if you could, the speaker could please talk on the letter.
I'm just going to say that this infrastructure, this is a letter specifically related to infrastructure. And so,
but this is about us appointing a person to a committee based upon our current practices. So it's not about infrastructure. So the motion was for that based upon Robert's rules. That's what the speaker should be speaking about.
So what I'm saying is that I not only agree with Mayor Rick, but I also agree that the public should have a role on this committee so that we can protect our interest as well. So I'm just going to say that, you know, that very much that the public is interested in making sure the infrastructure that goes into their communities protects them and is built to the highest standards following resilience guidance. We don't want to see any more buildings coming in that are to a 25-year flood standard, for instance, that we want to see that folks are protected. We also, when we look here, we see we have data that is missing that's related to wastewater as well. So the public wants to be informed. We want transparency. Appreciate you standing up for the people and giving us information, contemporaneous information, so that we can have a role in the infrastructure in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, would anyone else like to speak on this? Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. I will come back to the board. I had a motion from Commissioner Rain, a second from Commissioner Sandelli, is that correct? Any objections? Seeing no objections, 5-0 to reply, so thank you. All right, that concludes commissioner items. We're moving on to committee appointments. Commissioner Hammond, do you have any committee appointments?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 3 new appointments this morning. All 3 new appointments are to the Mobile Manor O&M MSBU. I'd like to appoint Charles Mashburn, Paul LaCourse, and David Branson to the Mobile Manor O&M MSBU.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hammond.
Thank you. That concludes my
yes. All right. So at this time, Commissioner Pendergrass.
Yes, I have one reappoint Michael Bellabeau for the Housing Finance Authority.
I'll second. So, All right, at this time, do we have any objections? I'm sorry, any objections? No, 5-0. I missed that on the second vote. You want to redo? Or are we good?
That's fine, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I apologize. All right, Commissioner Wayne, yes.
I do. I have one new appointment to the Cherry Blueberry Improvement Unit. It's Douglas Kruger.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Wayne, a second from Commissioner Hammond. Any objections? No objections. Thank you. Commissioner Sandelli, do you have any appointments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have one new appointment, Michael Biancello, to the Anchorage Way Intercoastal O&M MSBU.
Okay. I'll second. So we have a motion from Commissioner Sandelli, a second from Commissioner Greenwell. Any objections? No objections. 5-0. I have appointments as well. Let me find them. I have two appointments and need a motion and a second. I would like to reappoint Keith Baker to the Well Construction Advisory Board and Don Russell to the Local Planning Agency.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Commissioner Hammond, a second from Commissioner Wayne. Any objections? No objections? Okay. That concludes committee appointments. County manager items. Mr. Harner, do you have any items?
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Somewhat briefly, given that it's a 97-page order, but we're not going to take that much time. Back in late 2019, early 2020, the state of Florida became the third state in the country, following New Jersey and Michigan, to enter into a permitting, a glorified interlocal agreement with the federal government that transferred certain wetlands mitigation permitting to the state. We had been operating under that system since 2019, and what it effectively did was transfer permit submission, review, and approvals to the state of Florida rather than to the Army Corps of Engineers under federal law. This resulted in a faster turnaround for permit applications, both from the private community as well as this county government. We'll get into that in a moment, because as you're aware, our road projects certainly fall under these permitting requirements. Somewhat regrettably, late last week, a federal judge in the district court, an Obama-era appointee, in his 97-page ruling, found that delegation to be contrary to federal law and suspended the program. So as of today, our best advice to you is all permitting required under the Clean Water Act will now have to be submitted to the federal government through the Army Corps. We're still trying to sort out some of those finer details as the ruling just came down. So we're within the appeal period. There was also a limited opportunity in the order to stay certain provisions that it's my understanding the state and the federal government might be in discussions to implicate certain of those stay provisions. However, we wanted to bring this to your attention because as of right now, there is uncertainty, one, as to whom the proper permitting authority is for such wetlands mitigation permitting issues, and two, it might very well have impact on ongoing road programs that I believe Mr. Moore is going to address with you shortly. Additionally, it certainly has implications for the private development community, both here in Lee County and statewide. As I said, this was a 97-page ruling that came out late last week, but it did have the immediate effect of freezing the state's ability to issue these permits.
Any comment from the board at this time?
So, Richard, based on what happened last week, so they moved this to the liberal courts in D.C., right? So they get this ruling after the last 4 years of litigation, correct? So this is going to cost us time and money for the county residents based upon that. So, for example, a road project that would, obviously take so many years from start to finish, design, acquisition, 7 to 8 years, it could take even twice as long now, which incurs more costs. As we all sit in traffic, we're going to be stuck behind more cars now based upon some ruling from a liberal wacko judge in D.C., correct?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, County
You
Manager.
can be blunt, please.
Being an officer of the court, I'm somewhat constrained to be that critical of the judiciary. However, I would point out that this program was instituted under the previous federal administration as well as Governor DeSantis' current administration. The judge was appointed by President Obama at the time and makes reference in his order to a certain rush between the state and the federal government to get this program implemented before a change in administrations. I'll leave that commentary to other sources. But your concern is very real in the sense that we can say with a degree of certainty for the permits that have already been issued, they are not affected by this ruling. What is at play, however, is permits that are currently under review that have been previously filed with the state. We are now going to have to coordinate with both the state government and the federal government to see who is going to conduct that review. It's our reading of the opinion that as of today, the state is without any authority to conduct that review going forward. So now we'll be defaulted to the federal government. And I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination to say that the federal government does not move as quickly as the state government has in the past. So your concerns about delayed projects are very real, both on the public sector and then also in the private sector.
I have a question. I'm not sure the question would be for Dave or the county manager. Can you provide us, maybe at the next meeting, a list of how projects are going to be impacted of this change ruling as far as, I think, Three Oaks, I think we got most of Three Oaks, it's already permitted. But as far as other projects coming down the pipeline under our CIP, how are these going to be impacted, the costs of slowing these projects down? I mean, obviously, we're going to bear the costs here locally. We're going to be sitting in traffic longer, waiting for more things to be built based upon this. But we'll continue moving forward. But what can we do, Richard and Dave, between now and the future with the state? Obviously, lobby for the governor to step in and maybe try to put some pressure, if any, to maybe get this changed. I'm sure the private sector, we're going to hear from the private sector in a few minutes. I think we have some speakers here on this topic, what they're going to be doing, how that impacts everybody. Is this something we work with our delegation and just work up the food chain with that?
Mr. County Attorney.
Mr. Chairman, I believe the county administration is in a position to give a brief overview of the impact on your transportation projects today. Since this ruling came out, obviously it was of major significance, and we wanted to get this information to the board as quickly as possible. In terms of what we do going forward, yes, we fully intend on coordinating with both the state and the federal agencies involved. Our early coordination, though, is they're not sure what to do at this point either, given the newness of the ruling. But it may very well be that we are back before you with a request to participate in any appeals that take place, as those remedies might be available to us under federal law, whether on our own or joining with other parties. But we will continue to keep you informed of where we are. We certainly felt the board's pressure to move these transportation projects forward. You've discussed that numerous times during both board meetings and your goal-setting sessions. We heard those comments, and we have pushed the road projects forward as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, this is an absolute roadblock for those permits that we do not have in hand and are currently under review.
Okay. Thank you. I think as obviously we have to stay tuned. I think this is, what's happening here is obviously we have to do the last couple of years. Florida was going to be a target. Florida is one of the best states in the country. We're doing everything good here. And this is what happens. This is what happened to California over the last 30 years. That's why an 800 square foot apartment costs $2 million there, because of the cost of doing business. And that's what they're trying to do here. It's unfortunate, but we'll get through this and we'll win at the end of the day. It's just, we just have to stay on top of it.
Commissioner Sindel.
One question, when this ruling took place, was there any guidance associated with that in this transition period? We're obviously going to try to push this along. Was there anything provided other than the change itself?
No. Mr. Chairman? No, in fact, there was direction in the order that the parties were to work out any transitions going forward. The court actually, in a brief statement, said it was aware that there might be some transition issues, but they pale in comparison to the importance of the legal principle at stake.
All right, thank you. At this time, County Manager, you have more for this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We are prepared to provide you potential facts. I'm going to ask Mr. Moore to do that, and then we will follow up with more details following the meeting to each of you. So, Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. I want to share with you that staff have been monitoring this case real closely for some time, but we were surprised by the issuance of the order last Thursday. As Richard mentioned, we're still learning about the impact of this order, and we're still working to understand the potential internal effect on county projects, particularly in DOT, utilities, and natural resources. As the county attorney's office mentioned, it does not have any impact on previously issued permits, so they're moving forward. Staff have been in continuous contact with the appropriate regulatory agencies to learn more about the permitting process moving forward. There hasn't been much guidance given to staff. These agencies have shared that they are also assessing the results of the order and will be in close contact with the county concerning all of our project permits. County Attorney's Office made a recommendation of moving forward with submission to the Army Corps of Engineers, and we have taken that proactive measure. Staff have engaged with our environmental permitting consultant to ready the submission of the applications to the Corps. It is still premature for us to really comment on what might happen next to our projects, but we do have staff available. Commissioner Pendergrass, you've asked for a list of county projects, and we are developing that list as we speak, and we'll have that available in short time.
Any more discussion from the board? Any questions? Okay. Mr. County Manager, you have any other items?
No, we do not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we'll move to county attorney items. Mr. Welch, do you have any county attorney items?
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. That concludes county attorney items. So we will move to public presentation of matters by citizens. And I have quite a few cards to read, so we'll move to the cards and for public comment. And first is Tony Camerata.
Joe wants to speak first?
Hi, Joe.
You have the card. Joe.
Yeah, you have a card? Okay, Joe Camerata. Okay.
Can you open this up real quick? I'm going to try to get through this in 3 minutes. I was at the federal hearing with this latest ruling that came down. I was in D.C. at that hearing. Kingston was a part of and named specifically by the plaintiffs. I believe the local environmental groups put Kingston into the mix. The Arizona environmental group that sued in federal court, Washington, D.C., successfully shut down Florida. All the permitting through the 404 process for wetlands, for any new projects, completely shut down. And there is a stay that the governor's office is currently working on a solution to potentially reopen it. But if it goes back to the Army Corps as the judge has ordered, I can tell you right now, it'll be years before this is resolved. The backlog of permits that the Army Corps would take on, the fact that they're not staffed, you can't submit to them today, and they've taken away the Florida ability to maintain its own water, its own wetlands, its own permitting process. No different than New Jersey, no different than Michigan. Unfortunately, I believe it's partially a political issue, but the local environmental groups, Conservancy, and some of those folks have caused Florida a great deal of damage in this issue. And it doesn't only shut down the Lee County projects, the roads you guys are trying to build, you got to get those permits just like I do. Now, all of this was spewed with false information about 23 panthers dying at Kingston every year. Completely false. Okay, I have evidence here to prove it all. I could show you. Had we gone through a Section 7 permit through Army Corps of Engineers, we'd be digging dirt out there right now. And I could prove it, but I only have 3 minutes to do it in, and I can't do it in 3 minutes. But what I can tell you is this. Ultimately, you guys should react to the governor, get involved with the governor now, because he has to answer in 10 days what they're going to do. And if we don't give him, if we don't get involved as a county and start taking some of this, take this very serious, this could be devastating to the entire state of Florida. And it's a misrepresented, unfortunately, in court it was misrepresented. This judge in D.C. doesn't understand Florida. This Arizona-based environmental group couldn't even spell the word Kingston. So I'm sure the local groups put it up. Unfortunately, they did it with a false narrative. And if the true narrative ever could be expressed, there's only been 4 panthers that have died in 20 years on Corkscrew Road. And vehicular killings are number 3 on the list. Number 3. First is panther on panther, second is unknown, and third is cars. And the last thing I'm going to say is Lehigh Acres, your number 1 permit getter is 1,700 permits a year. They're putting cars on the road just like I am on Route 82.
Thank you, Mr. Camerati. Your time is
Okay,
up.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
my
No,
time's up.
you're
But
fine.
that's,
Thank you.
I think that you
Tony-
guys have to reach out to the governor's office.
All right, we will. Tony, do you want to speak? No, I don't. You good? Okay. All right, so we'll move on to Carol Brook.
Wait,
Oh,
there's Ray Blacksmith, you got a card?
oh, I'm sorry, I dropped the card. Yeah, Ray Blacksmith, I'm sorry, you're next. Yes, sir. Thank you, I dropped that. Thank you.
I just want to bring back his time.
Yes, sir.
For somebody to say that it's
Could
simple.
we reset the time, please? Yes, sir, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Ray Blacksmith with the Camerata Companies. For someone to say it's simply a matter of changing from going to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection for permitting, now you can just go to the Army Corps of Engineers, is making it too simplified, because that's not the case. The Army Corps of Engineers was slow to react back 3, 4, 5 years ago. They were understaffed. They're greatly understaffed now. And to think that anybody can just go to the Army Corps of Engineers now and get anything accomplished, you cannot. We just ask that you join in and contact Governor DeSantis. If, again, like Joe said, if we went through the Army Corps of Engineers, who then gets recommendations from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, go into FDEP, you go for your wetland, you go to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service reviews it all. Who they're looking to review the wetlands, either DEP or Army Corps, it changes nothing that we're doing. It changes nothing that the county is doing on their projects. You just need a decision to be made. It can't sit. It affects all of us. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Blacksmith. All right, next will be Carol Brook. Good morning.
My name is Carol Brocky. I'm a 22-year resident of Pelican Preserve, which is a 55 and older community of over 5,000 residents in Pelican Preserve. I'm a president of the Pelican Preserve Residents Alliance. We are here today because we are requesting an open forum because 99.9% of the residents of Pelican Preserve are not informed about the plans for the recycling center. We request an open forum where residents can ask questions and express their concerns starting from the inception of the recycle plan. We request that the county commissioners initiate the rezoning of the 50 acres to an IPD, an industrial plan development, to protect the quality of life and properties within Pelican Preserve now and in the future. We request that the residents' leadership be given a seat at the table to assure that decisions being made are not detrimental to our community. We have been left out of the process, even though our community will be hugely impacted by the increased traffic noise and air pollution. We acknowledge that the county needs to provide recycling services for the benefit of the entire county population. Yet we respectfully ask you to reevaluate the planned location, which is next to a residential community. What's more, the lack of an IPD zoning will have a major detrimental effect on the citizens going to the future. Residents' leadership has spent hours seeking information about what is being planned. Multiple public records requests were made, and in some cases, material was inadequate or there was no response at all. In all our communication with the county staff, we were not made of the following: that the purchase of the 50 acres of the Gulf Coast landfill property was finalized in August 1st, 2002. There needs to be no vote on the purchase after due diligence was completed. We're concerned about the upcoming vote on the machinery and building. Will it include discussion on the ways to mitigate the building's effect on residents? What happens to open government and transparency? We really need you to be a good neighbor. A good neighbor is about having an IPD and open forums for our residents. We are concerned. We don't want to hear it, we don't want to smell it, and we don't want to see it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just want to remind everybody, I should have said it when we started the comments, but the light is green. You get 3 minutes. When it turns to yellow, it's basically a minute. When you get to red, your time is up. I do not like to cut you off, but I will, so please kind of realize the light, and thank you, ma'am, for your comment.
I followed it.
Yes, thank you, you did. So up next will be Eugene Shelton.
Thank you. My name is Eugene Shelton. I'm 4 years into Florida. We love living here. We think it's a great state. It's growing. It's doing all the positive things. I'm an engineer by profession with lots of experience in environmental issues. Traveling globally, unfortunately, many of my visits globally were to recycling places. The company I work for also used to make, one of its product lines was in the recycling business. These are very noisy pieces of equipment, and they can be very messy. Many of the plants that I've visited, for many reasons, are very dirty looking. The runoff from them for the water waste streams is hazardous. These areas have to be collected and treated off-site. So I'm concerned from that standpoint. But aside from those matters, the definition of recycling facility is kind of broad. Is this going to be scoped out and just do paper and plastics and glass? Or is this going to be expanded into an area that does tires and batteries and all types of hazardous stuff? I think we need to define what type of facility it is and work with the citizens and the community to monitor this facility. The other thing I would ask is, what is the cost benefit for this particular facility in this area? Because we're just trying to open up that corridor. There's only 3 main corridors into Lehigh. Now you're going to congest that area with heavy truck traffic. That's going to slow down the traffic, causing other possible areas for accidents and stuff. But it's also going to spew waste and dirt and stuff going to this recycling center. So the one last thing I would say on the recycling, there is a paper written by a couple of different institutes. The Manhattan Institute wrote a paper questioning whether or not recycling is a viable entity in the last decade. China no longer wants to buy our recycling products, so we're forced to pay more money to find places to recycle for something that's has a diminishing return on it. I would suggest looking at taking our recycled products and putting them into the landfills, taking that money we're spending to recycle and give it back to the taxpayers, or using it in a more beneficial way. Outside that, the only thing I can say is that I don't think it's a good place or location. Most of these places are on a railhead system or a harbor where there's boats for transporting this stuff. You want to keep it off the roads that we're just in the process of building and protect the citizens' safety, basically. So there's a lot of issues at play here.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Okay, up next is Fred Russo, and after that will be Patty Heathy. And if I mispronounce that, please correct me. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Fred Russo, 9236 Brino Drive in Pelican Preserve. And I moved to Pelican Preserve in 2004 for a retirement community. At that point in time, we knew that this dump existed. After we were here about a year or two, there was an effort to try to reopen that dump. Thankfully, you guys listened and you put a close on it. Then we got hit by Ian, and without warning, the dump suddenly was opened. We listened to the trucks climb the hill, dump their loads, finally listening to backup warning lights of beep, beep, beep that can drive anyone crazy. Thankfully, the dump was closed earlier than expected, so once again, we accepted that we had no control over this, and we moved on. But now, without notice, we discovered several months ago that the county was entertaining the idea of relocating the recycle plant on Buckingham, far removed from any homes, to 50 acres adjacent to Pelican Preserve, an over 55 community. The intention to move this plant so close to our homes is incredulous. With all the land available in the county, like the industrial area on Alico, you are considering placing this plant next to a bunch of old folks who probably don't know what's going on or don't care. Today, I promise all of you that we know what's going on, we do care, and the idea that you would even consider relocating this is appalling, singling out our community. You think we were not going to hear the 100 trucks a day coming into the facilities? You think we're not going to experience the massive traffic backups caused by these trucks? Colonial is a nightmare as it is without this facility. Do you have any idea what it's going to do to the lives of the senior citizens who voted for you, who trusted for you? I promise each one of you that we old folks will fight every step of the way and do whatever it takes to get you to reconsider this project. We may be old, but we're not going to forget who threatened our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. All right, I got to go ahead and tell you, we expect a certain quorum here. You can't clap, cheer, hiss, please. Show the respect. That way we're not intimidating speakers that might be for or against. So please restrain from doing that. Patty, you're up next. Is Patty Heafy here? Okay. Thomas Shaner. Please state your name, sir.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Tom Shaner. I am the Vice President of the Pelican Preserve Community Association. Much of what has been said I had to say, so I will refrain from doing it so that we can move along. But I do have a petition on behalf of the community that in 2 days we gathered nearly 1,900 signatures. Kind of reiterating, I will read it for you just so we have it for the record. It's a petition to the Lee County to create more discussion about the recycling plant that will be built alongside the Pelican Preserve community. The undersigned, 1,900 names, residents of Pelican Preserve community, with this petition, request the following action by the county commissioners regarding the recycling plant planned for the parcel of land abutting our community. 1, we request that the county administration, staff, lawyers, etc., take into consideration the quality of life and property values within Pelican Preserve. 2, we request that the county administration, staff, lawyers, etc., meet in a public forum with the residents of Pelican Preserve to discuss the concerns regarding the recycling plant adjacent to the community. 3, we request that the county commissioners rezone the land to an IPD, industrial plan development, to properly protect the properties within Pelican Preserve, signed by nearly 1,900 residents of Pelican Preserve. One last note that just came to my attention yesterday. We had a realtor come into Pelican Preserve. He was representing a home in Bridgetown, which is a couple miles down tree line from us. He told his potential buyer, you might want to consider this. There's a dump there, and they're going to put a recycling plant. Your home values will drop. You don't think we have concerns? We have a lot of concerns. Mr. Russo expressed it. There's going to be a lot of battle coming from this community. Be prepared. Veteran to veteran, be prepared. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next up will be Patricia Zimmerman.
Thank you. My name is Patricia Zimmerman, and I'm also one of the approximately 5,000 residents of Pelican Preserve. As you can see, a couple of my neighbors have shown up here. We are very, very concerned that you are going to be putting a new recycling center in our backyard. We understand that this will not be just a small recycling center, but rather one that will service all the recycling needs of all Lee County households and businesses for the next 20 years. Is it possible that you have moved ahead with these plans without taking into consideration the impact of such a facility on the lives and properties of the thousands and thousands of people who live up and down Treeline Avenue and on and around Colonial and Gateway Boulevards? As you can only imagine, we have so many concerns about this plan. First and foremost, we're concerned that it is currently zoned industrial general and what that will mean now and in the future. What we want, as you have heard from others, is to have these 50 acres rezoned as an industrial plan development, which will provide us with many assurances and less surprises in the future. Here are some of our other concerns. What types of materials will be delivered to this center for recycling? How can we be sure it won't become a hazardous waste facility? 2, hours of operation. Will these trucks be arriving and leaving all day and night? Has anyone completed impact studies about the increased traffic on these already congested streets? 3, days of operation. Will this be open 7 days a week? 4, what about the noise level from the trucks moving, idling, and backing up? What about the ongoing operations noise? Will there be any sound barriers built? 5, air pollution and odors. Will there be any efforts to mitigate these inevitable problems? 6, what about light pollution? 7, what about water drainage? 8, what about the placement of the building and its height? Will it be visible from our backyards? We need answers to these concerns and hope you will agree to meet with some key members of our community so we can work together to keep this area of Lee County a desirable place to live. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Up next is Michael Lamphere. If I said, thank you, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Michael Lamphere. I live in Pelican Reserve. I've lived here for 14 years. I've seen a lot of growth over the last 14 years. Some of it good, some of it not so good. The reason why Pelican Reserve has a huge concern over this recycling plant is primarily because of how we were dealt with the Gulf Coast landfill. The track record with the county and the Gulf Coast landfill is less than stellar. In 2006, residents were not informed of meetings concerning the closure of the landfill the first time. With the Ian State Emergency Resolution, we had violations of operating hours, we had violations of truck traffic on Gateway Boulevard, we had an inadequate air monitoring. It happened only 2 times in over a year. We've had traffic accidents, fires, dust, and the odor. In 2003, Waste Management applied and received a DEP permit to increase the landfill height to 120 feet, despite county resolutions which restricted the landfill height to 100 feet. Waste Management has not put a permanent liner on top of the debris and parcel. We ask why. We need more guarantees that need to be in the IPD. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Up next is Marsha Ellis.
Marsha Ellis for the record. So today I'm I'm happy to see the folks showing up from Pelican Preserve because I felt like I should try to reach out to that community. Recently, I was reviewing the Title V permitting in the state of Florida because I've been participating in the federal rulemaking regarding the Title V, which is the stationary sources of air pollution. And I saw that there is a permit that has been applied for relating to the Gulf Coast landfill. So one thing we don't want in our community are more Title V permits. We don't want more sources of air pollution in our community. We really don't. And when I saw that Title V permit, it really raised concerns for me about what additional sources of toxic emissions are we going to have in our community. Are we going to have more incineration taking place? Are we going to have additional loads of mercury and dioxins and lead and arsenic and other toxic chemicals emitting from these facilities? Because a Title V permit means air pollution, additional sources of air pollution. And with it being a stationary source, that means there's going to be a disproportionately impacted neighborhood, though it's not restricted to just that neighborhood, because those emissions are going to spread out over our community. They're going to spread out into our waters. Those toxins are going to be bioaccumulated in the animals that we won't be able to eat, that the eggs that we won't be able to harvest from our backyard flocks, or the fish that we won't be able to put on the dinner table, or the tourist will end up having to stay away from. So I caution the commissioners to really evaluate what the true impacts are of growth and the waste, and look towards solutions like zero waste. Right? There are things that communities have done to try to tackle the amount of toxins that are entering into the environment, like zero vero. Okay? There are actions that we can take as a community to wean ourselves off of these harmful practices, like incinerating plastic, that increase emissions in communities like Pelican Preserve, and like in communities like Buckingham, affecting schools like Varsity Lakes, Lehigh Senior, and the Buckingham Park, and affecting communities like Big Cypress that can no longer go out and catch a fish and put it on the dinner table because of the methyl mercury accumulation. Let's make a change, and please have a public workshop looking at trash in this county.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis. Up next is Gary Cooper.
Morning, gentlemen. I am Gary Cooper, and I'm also part of the Pelican Preserve community. So I'm really up here to reinforce what Mrs. Brockie requested about a public hearing, but I thought perhaps I could shed a little light on what we've heard, what we've been doing. Our communications with the Solid Waste Management Department here have been over the last 6 months. So with about 7 other neighbors, we met at Mrs. Brockie's house on October 27th with a couple of members from the Solid Waste Department. We also attended the CDC meeting with representatives from the department there as well, and there were about a dozen people on that rainy night in that meeting. And looking over my notes and in discussions with others, we were under the impression that a second vote would be required to finalize this purchase of the 50 acres. It was only after due diligence that we believed and a two-phase study that was undertaken that a vote would be taking place. Well, when we saw the agenda, and you may wonder why we're all here today en masse, when we saw the agenda and also a call to the Solid Waste Department last week, that we realized there was no second vote. This was a done deal. Well, was it naivety on our part, or was it the fact that really this was never communicated to us that this was a final vote? We think it wasn't. For whatever reason, there was confusion. Thus the request we have about the public hearing. So anyhow, with this information that we had, I mean, we took measures to look at other different places to put this recycling plant. For instance, the original December 2020 plans called for it to be off Alico Road. All right, we're also aware that in January, the Assistant County Manager responded to requests from the Gateway CDC to have this meeting that we are requesting for the commissioners to be at a meeting. The response from the Assistant County Manager was, in fact, that, well, wait till the design process in June, then we can have the public meeting. Well, we couldn't disagree more. We think that it's too late at that point. We think there's some valuable insight, as you heard from the comments here today, that we could offer into that design. So I'm going to ask, and again, reinforce the request that others made up here, that we have this public hearing with you present, and we ask that you do it in the name of open government, transparency, and for clarity of purposes. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Up next is Gary Eatson.
My name is Gary Edson. I'm on a villa. I live on the Villa Circle in Pelican Preserve. Thank you for the time today. It's good to see familiar faces. I'm very, very concerned after living in Southwest Florida for 24 years and recently becoming a resident out of Pelican Preserve. It's just an unbelievable community, probably one of the finest in the whole of Southwest Florida. And what's going on here is absolutely unbelievable. And I'm very disappointed to hear that y'all have kind of gone forward with something that kind of discredits the wisdom that was given, you were given credit for earlier this morning by the good pastor. I just don't understand how you could plop down a major polluter like this facility and not only is Pelican Preserve, which is there, but that corner used to be vacant. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of new apartments that are being constructed, as you well know. What you're doing is you're putting, it's like they're doing down at in some of the shopping centers today. They're putting apartment houses in the parking lots. That's a good idea, but now you're putting a dump in the middle of a residential area. It doesn't make sense to me. I can't quite understand it, but we certainly haven't been included in the discussion. I hope that you will reach down into your hearts, hear what we're calling for. You've heard pleas, both passionate and perhaps a little overzealous, but you can understand the passion. And if each of you were to lose 20, 30, or 40% of the home value, you probably would be concerned too. But it's even more than that. Think of the people outside of Pelican Preserve who haven't even moved into their facilities yet, and they're going to be looking at a major, major eyesore and problem. So I hope that you can reach down in your hearts, have a little compassion, and do the right thing. And I think you will. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. All right, this time that completes all the cards. Would anyone else like to speak? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. There's a workshop this afternoon. I'm sorry, there is not a workshop this afternoon. Do we have any other business in front of us?
Yeah, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
sir.
I do think we should address, we did have quite a bit of comments today. It does say in our administrative code that if we hear something in public presentation by matters of citizens, we can talk about it. And so, you know, I am, I'm really disappointed. I feel like the process is so broken here. I feel like we are living Groundhog Day over and over again. We come to these meetings and when we listen to people come and tell us the same story over and over again, no one tells us what's going on. We feel like this is being done in secret. If somebody would just communicate with us, we would love to know what's really happening. And I don't know what we can do to fix that because we do work for these people. We do serve these people. They elected us to be their representatives. We have a representative form of government here in America where they pick people who are citizens. They vote for those citizens to go and sit up here and be, you know, one of their 5 voices. And so I don't know how we fix that, but, you know, to sit here and be told that, that we singled out a community to try and harm them, you know, nothing could have been further from the truth. We never had a discussion about singling out Pelican Preserve to try and harm them or their property values. I love Pelican Preserve. It's actually one of my favorite places to go to all the Chamber of Commerce and other lunches that we go to. So, you know, I understand what they're saying. I'm empathetic and sympathetic to what they're saying. I think at the very least, absolutely, we need to get out in front of these folks and answer the very good questions that they've asked about the noise and all the other concerns. I wouldn't even mind if we start looking, maybe I can ask this question. Is the sale closed? Did we close on this sale?
No, we have not.
All right, well, then I'd make a motion that we just don't move forward with the closing. I'd love to get a second on that.
I'll second that.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to not close on the land. We have a motion from Commissioner Hammond. We have a second from Commissioner Wayne. Is there further discussion?
I have a question. So thank you, Commissioner Hammond, for bringing this up. And you guys, I forgot what date it was. We talked about this probably 6 months ago. We voted to move forward with that. I voted against it because I was hearing from the residents. I live on the other side of the location. I think people are concerned. But just in all fairness, I've heard a lot of communication. They saying we weren't communicating. There was communication. I opposed it, and I opposed what was being done. But at the time, I know Doug and staff have been meeting with different people, Carol, and different people of the Alliance. So there was communication. I think what it comes down to, they don't want it there. And their suggestion was, and I was hoping to hear from some of the speakers, they were suggesting, why don't we have this location more of an industrial area like off Alico? So a lot of people in this room in the past 6 months have said to me, why don't we move this location to Alico Road? I think it was done based upon what staff was telling me. It was done because there's currently a landfill at the time was active, and there's already a site there at 50 acres. And my question is with that motion based upon that, where do we go from here? Do we start all over again? And how does this impact our solid waste for the future? Lee County, I know Doug or the county manager can respond to that, because if we don't do it there, that's fine. And I agree with that motion, but where is it going to go, and how is it going to impact us, and where we are with that closing? And what's it going to cost us to go back out of that contract?
Yeah. I would like to have Mr. Hunter, if someone come up and answer the question, I think, if we can at this time.
And also, do we need to blue sheet that later?
Blue sheet that later, right?
Yeah, I can turn it over to Mr. Mora to talk about the closing right now.
Good morning, Commissioners. Question about closing date. We are very close. All of the documents have been submitted, and we're just waiting on a closing date. So it's close. It's pending.
Okay, well, we can back out. Okay, we haven't closed yet, so that's good. So as far as my question was, where are we at as far as then this site goes away, then where we go from there? How does that, we're already behind already with recycling, and as far as incinerators, where we go from there as far as solid waste? We're going to put it closer to this community or another community? How's it going to impact, and what sites are we looking at for that? Because I know before they suggested, obviously, they were thinking of Alico Road area because of industrial, but it's a different type of industrial though.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr.
I'll ask, well, let me just put it this way. We had a very difficult time finding a site. This was one of the few sites that could facilitate this type of facility. It would put us behind. Maybe I'll turn it over to Chris or Doug to provide additional information on that question.
You know, it's a little bit more background. What was actually going to be used for? I know we've had discussions last year about this.
Yes, sir. Early 2021, we began a property search with the County Lands Department. We went on at length. I think the issue is, one, zoning, of course, trying to find a zoning that's appropriate and can expand, which is IG and a few others. This land is industrial general. The second issue is that people didn't want to sell. I mean, that's a big deal, is that I know that Robert and his department worked very diligently, reached out to brokers, and we had one meeting. Very difficult on that, but we just couldn't find people who had property they were willing to sell us. In addition, we're looking for at least 20 acres for the facility itself. And the reason we went to 50 acres for this property is to provide the buffer in which we discussed and had discussions with the neighbors over the past 6 months.
Was there any sites off the Alico area that, remember you said it started back in 2021, is there other sites? What was like number 2 and 3?
There was one location that we detected, but we had to fill a lake to use that property. It was Obviously, because we're building this type of structure, we needed to have a good foundation, and filling the lake was considered very dangerous for us.
Was it compatible in the area as far as like being residential and the current surroundings, where this area is already residential, was existing for the last 30 years? Was it like that, or was it something?
Yes, sir. Even with that property, there was one side which had residential property on it.
Where was that? Can you say where it's at or not?
I think it was Fiddlesticks. It's been 2 years, 2.5 years.
Fiddlesticks? Was it
Yes,
off
sir.
Malico, back there off of the Three Oaks?
Sir, that's correct.
Right, okay, thank you.
I guess I'd like to make comment about it myself. Obviously, we hear you. I think I got to commend the board. We do try to listen to the public and try to make decisions moving the county forward. Sometimes they're very, very tough decisions, and I know back when we made that decision, it was a tough decision. We make those decisions on what is explained to us, how we're educated on where things are going to go, why they would go there. And we've grown so much as a county, we get so limited on where we can do things because we've grown. Obviously, Pelican Preserve has grown. So I guess at this point, I have to ask staff, Mr. Harner, where do we move forward here and how do we move forward?
I would like to request to defer this and let us be able to come back to you and give you information on what implications there would be as how far we are on the agreement to purchase the property. We have to go through that. We'll be able to come back to tell you potential costs that we may have. But I can't give you that now, and neither can staff at this moment. We'd have to take a little bit of time to do that.
So at this time.
So, that's
Yes,
my,
sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
if I may. So,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, so the motion is to not close on this purchase. If you're saying we're very close to the closing date, we don't have a meeting for 2 weeks, you're not going to close in between now and the next meeting, are you?
No, we'll work. No, we're not. We'll work through that. So we're comfortable that we're not going to close.
Do you need a motion or direction to delay the closing at the very least then?
Because if I might add, the contract does have a May 2nd closing date.
Okay.
Okay.
May 2nd.
Well, then, if that's the case, that we do have time till May 2nd, my desire still stands that, you know, I'd rather not close on this piece of property. And I definitely want to see us do something better to answer the questions for people on the front end. Because the questions that were brought up, see, I know the answer. I know the answer because I've done this for 10 years. I know the answer because I've worked with you all for 10 years. You all absolutely have thought about air quality. You've thought about water runoff. You've thought about noise. You've thought about how to construct this in a way that would be compatible with the community. You've thought about all of these things because you do it every time. You put forward exemplary service for the people of Lee County. And I know you think of those things, but the problem is they haven't had the benefit of serving for 10 years as a commissioner and getting those briefings from you and seeing the quality work you do. So when they get together, they just have all these fears that just continue to build on one another. And we heard it today. We heard veterans tell us they want to fight us like today. So we heard fears today. So we need to fix the process so that we can answer the fears on the front end and help people get a similar education to what we get so that they understand that, yeah, those are great questions you're asking and we think about those questions, but I'll amend my motion then to defer this to the next meeting where we could then vote on whether or not to move forward with the closing. That'll be my amended motion.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second from Commissioner, we have a motion from Commissioner Hammond. We have a second from Commissioner Wayne. Do we have any objections? I see no objections. So motion to delay. For next meeting. Do we need a date on that?
The next board meeting, yes.
Next board meeting, okay. Okay, that it? Thank you. All right, thank you. At this time, I see no further business in front of us, so we are adjourned. And thank you for all coming.
Thank you, guys.